Welcome back to Obscured Reality. Just me here with you tonight. Let's take a look at some videos. Tonight's story, unexplained or unexplainable? You tell me. As you may know, the government just released some UFO files. We're going to take a look at the website and a few different videos, and let's see what's going on, because I think these are just unexplained, not unexplainable. As you know, it was very underwhelming. Let's start off by taking a look at the website. Let me share my screen right now. This is war.gov/UFO. Many of you may have seen it. As soon as you get here, just scroll down. Here they all are. You click on each one and see if it's a photo, a document, or a video. So far, there's about 17 pages of this stuff. Not many of the videos are actually interesting. We're going to take a look at a few. One that I think is probably one of the better ones. And then we're going to take a look at something else that kind of goes with it. So that's the website. We're not going to go too much into that. And let's see here. That's the website. Now, let's take a look at the videos. I'll go ahead and share those with you right now. So first video, let's just play through it. We're going to have some audio on the last one and with an explanation of something. But here we're seeing the crosshairs in the middle and this something that appears to be moving around. It's hard to tell what's going on here. There's no points of reference. There's literally nothing here other than this thing. We don't know what it is. It appears the camera itself may be moving around a little bit as well. You'll notice in the top left some darker stuff come into play and then move away. But it's really kind of hard to tell. We don't know what that white streak across the screen is. So it seems pretty clear that whatever this object is probably moving as well. But what's interesting about the dark spot at the top left, you notice that moves with this thing. So I'm really wondering about glares and things like that, and how much light this thing's putting off, whether it be propulsion or something else. But it's not really doing anything. What I do find interesting is how the alleged object really appears very similar to those crosshairs. Crosshairs right here. Look at the plus in there. Looks just like those. I'm wondering about reflection and glare and what's really going on here. There's really not much context other than a little blurb they provide with it, but these are all the unexplained ones. So here's another one that I believe was over water. Now, that doesn't mean that object's directly above the water. It could be fairly high up. It looks like there's something hanging from it. This would be typical of a balloon. And the speed that it appears to be going is probably not the speed it's really going. If it's a balloon, it's going much slower. But you got to remember, perception is key. You're in a moving platform, which is most likely a Reaper drone, and then you have the object you're filming, which is moving in a static background. The ocean, for the most part, static, right? Not the same as land, but static, and no points of reference other than swells on the ocean. Depending on how close or how far away that object is to the drone camera, it's going to appear to be going various speeds. Whether it's closer or farther, it may seem slower or faster. So you have to remember that. It's also going to matter which way the drone is moving, how fast the drone's moving. These are going about 200 miles an hour. Now let's go over the third one. And then after that, we have one more video with a possible debunking, which I think I agree with. So here's the windmill one. You see the white dot right up here. Object, whatever it is, moving along. Again, this video is actually very nice because we have very good points of reference in here. Remember, perspective is everything. What are our points of reference? Well, those are the windmills that you're going to see in a second here. These are offshore windmills, I believe Saudi Arabia. I do want to point some things out. At times, it appears that this thing may be going behind windmills, so kind of flying through them. It's not. It's actually above them. It's actually way above them. But pay attention. You're going to see the camera angle kind of see right there. It starts to angle a little bit. And this is when we're going to see a change. It's going to appear as if this thing slows down and turns, does a 180. But that may not actually be the case. And the next video will explain that. Right there, it appears as if it's turning around. And come on back. There it goes. Now you may be wondering what's coming next. And obviously from what you see on the screen right here, I think it's obvious. Mick West. Some of you like him, some of you hate him. Personally, I don't care either way. You like someone, you don't like someone, it is what it is. A lot of people do not like Mick West because they think he comes off a little arrogant, a little smug. And honestly, yeah, he does. But good for him. He used to be a professional video game programmer, worked for some major companies with some major games. He's very intelligent and smart with what he does mathematically. Guy's killer. So he's going to talk about this windmill video. We're going to see that along with something he made. Let's take a look with audio. This is Mick West. Yes. Hi, Mick. Shout out to you, buddy. The
dimmer, but that's explainable simply by a local area automatic gain control or other video contrast or sharpening adjustments. The bottom line here is if that it went behind a turbine, there would be frames where you can't see it. That doesn't happen. It's in front of them.
It is in front of the turbines. It's not in between them, going around them, or anything.
But then we see the object appear to change direction, slowing down and going back the way it came. How can that be parallax? Easy. If the drone, moving at constant speed, just did a 180-degree turn to keep the object in range while keeping the camera pointing at the object, then you get the same effect. Here's what this might look like. There's a drone at about 33,000 feet and a balloon just drifting at 9,000 feet. The camera is really zoomed in. I'm using the stabilized video for comparison. With the drone simply flying straight for a while and then making a turn, we get the exact.
Follow this green line. This green line is the drone, and blue line here you have line of sight to the object, him alleging possible balloon. And so follow this green line. You'll see when it goes around.
Same effect. The object, in this case a 3-foot wide sphere, seems to be skimming along close to the turbines, which are actually 10 miles behind it.
So he's estimating that those turbines are probably about 10 miles behind this object. Could be the case, could not be the case, not too sure. Obviously, you see all the on-screen information from this drone has been redacted. So we're not seeing speed of the drone, which it's around 200 miles an hour, but you're not seeing the speed of this object if they're actually tracking it. If they're locked on and tracking it, they should have a good speed reading. Distance from the aircraft. We're not seeing any of that here, but let's continue.
When the drone makes a 180-degree turn over 30 seconds, the object seems to slow down, turn towards the camera, and then go back the way it came. Did we explain it? Not perfectly, as the exact time and location are not known, so this recreation is an approximation. But we've shown that it's not weaving in and out of the turbines, it's not making sudden movements, and its overall path is entirely consistent with a balloon and parallax.
Yes, I think he's got a point. We've seen since 2017 with all these videos that have come out, the gimbal, the go fast, the FLIR video back in 2017, 2018. And then Jeremy Corbell's put out a bunch of trash videos, almost all of which have been debunked. It's all crap. And what we've seen with Jeremy is he tells you what's going on. He doesn't say believe this or believe that, but he gives you the narrative. And his narrative is completely off on those videos. They've almost all been debunked. It's total crap. We've seen parallax. David Fravor's explanation of what he claims he saw when he flew out in his fighter jet off the coast of Southern California. He describes parallax to a T, yet he refuses to accept the idea that it could be possible that he could be wrong. His mind, nope, 100%, I'm not wrong. And that's a bad frame of mind to be in because he is most likely wrong. He saw what he saw, and that's that. I agree. But same here. My my mind is still trying to make sense of what Mick West just said and how we're getting parallax here. How if the drone does a 180, this object looks like it's going the other way, but it's a trick on the brain. It's all it is. Tonight, I went for a walk, and we live under numerous flight paths, lower flight paths, high flight paths. We live in a training area for small planes. We see jets coming in all the time from Hawaii going inland, and they are at very high cruising altitude. I saw one today when it was way out there. With the contrail, it looked like this thing was going up. I know it's not. It's at 30,000 feet, 35,000, whatever it's at, and it's going straight parallel to the ground. And I could pull up flight radar and prove that, right? But visually, from your perspective and where that thing is at in the sky, the way it's traveling, the speed, the angle, it appears it's going up. But then when it gets close to overhead, you can clearly see it's not, right? So you got to remember these things when your background is dull and you don't have any points of reference. Very hard to determine these things. Um, Stuff like this windmill video we just saw, much easier to run some data and mathematics, as Mick West does, and see there might not really be anything going on. And that video I believe was captioned as being in Saudi Arabia. It's a offshore wind farm. At first I thought that might be an FPV drone, first person view drone, the ones that are much faster, like DJI Mavic drones, right? But an actual FPV, typically home built, they fly very fast, gone, and they race those things. At first, I was under the impression that maybe that could be like an FPV drone before I found out it was an offshore windmills in Saudi Arabia. Could be an FPV drone. Someone's flying those with VR or with goggles. That's what you do with the FPV drones and cruising through the windmills. That would be fun. I'd love to do that too. I wasn't sold on that idea, but that's the best thing I could come up with, mainly because we saw the thing allegedly turn around. Then I found Mick West's video on it. Thankfully, he's done one so quick on these, or on one or a few more. And I will go with what he's saying. And I will because I've seen a lot of his past work. He puts all his work out there. Anyone's free to look at his work and prove him wrong, prove he screwed up. Nobody has. And I wonder why. Nobody makes the claim. And that's because they can't. If you have the mathematical knowledge and know how to do what he's doing, set the stuff up, do it if you think he's wrong, and prove him wrong or prove him right. That's what we need, right? And he's been correct with everything in the past. So I'm trusting his word that that drone was most likely turning around, causing the object, possibly a balloon, to appear to turn around. And you got to remember its perspective. Also, with David Fravor's incident, the flight that went out after him that actually got video of the object Fravor saw. You got to remember, you see weird little things in the video, which Mick West also goes in because they actually had on-screen data from the aircraft, so you could easily get everything put together and figure out speeds, distance, all this stuff. It was nothing. Well, that's what he's doing here. Okay. So you got to remember the camera pods on these things. When those cameras are turning, they can only do so much. They can only turn so far. And we saw with the video from the object Fravor saw, we now know that camera also has to do this weird inverted like flip inside to continue doing what it's doing. However, built into the camera, built into the software that goes into that camera, allows you to not see those changes on screen. So you're still seeing the same view. You're not seeing the object now upside down because the camera had to flip over in order to keep following it. You're not seeing that. And that's exactly why this could be parallax, and most likely is. So I'm curious what you guys think. If you got any comments on what you think of this first UFO dump, UFO data dump. Are you for it? Are you against it? What do you think from the photos or videos you've seen? I find it 100% underwhelming. I'm telling you guys, I really don't think there's anything to see here. Of course, this is only the first dump, but these videos are nothing different than the others. They're crap. Yeah, the quality's good. Obviously, what we would really want is to be able to get a close up view of these things and see what is the actual object. And one of the videos I did not show you, but one of the videos, it looks like a damn jet in the video. And they're like, this is still unexplained. How did the FBI not explain this? It's very clear. It looks like it might be at night, but you get these two little hot spots here. It looks exactly like jet engines, like a fighter jet type turbine blowing out fire jet, right? Well, imagine like the two jets on the rear of a Tomcat. It kind of looks like that in a way. You can't tell what it is, but you just see the jets. And at times, as the drone and this object are moving, you it kind of screws with the exposure or the contrast in it, and it lightens up a little bit, and you can see what are clearly contrails coming from the thing. But yeah, they couldn't explain it. So, I wonder how much work has the FBI actually put into trying to solve any of these, because all these are unexplained and a good chunk are, even if you can't 100% explain them, go, we look, it looks like it could be a fighter jet of some type. But we weren't able to verify that with any of the data we had. I get that. But what you could say is, we believe that what we're seeing is most likely a fighter jet. Here's why from our analysis. This is what we've researched, and this is how we've come to our conclusion. They don't even do that. So that's why this is titled Unexplained or Unexplainable, because I'm pretty sure these are just completely unexplained. They're not unexplainable. There literally is nothing to see here. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed because I've never seen anything I cannot verify what it was. I've never seen anything odd until I moved to where I'm at, and I've seen it a few times. One of them I cannot pass away for anything. So I know for a fact something's going on. That doesn't mean aliens and flying saucers, right? It could be our tech. It could be natural phenomena. It could be something else. I'm open to whatever, right? But we have to keep our common sense, critical thinking, be rational when we're looking at these things, and do not jump to conclusions. PFEs, proof, facts, evidence comes first. Don't throw your critical thinking and your common sense out the window with this stuff. Otherwise, you're going to get played. Don't don't follow along and believe every single word you're told from people like Lou Elizondo or Jeremy Corbell. They've both blew the whistle on stuff here. They screwed the pooch more than once. Lou Elizondo at least twice. Jeremy Corbell almost on every video, and his with completely false narratives that he's forcing out. This is what's happening. I'm telling you, this is what's happening. But he doesn't know. He wouldn't know, and he clearly doesn't do his homework, doesn't know how, or he's just playing a game. Go check out these videos. There's 20 some videos or so, I think. I know the ones that either Nancy Mace or Anna Paulina Luna, Representative Luna, I think wants to get out is 46 or 48 different videos that are supposedly gonna like convince you of everything. Those haven't come out yet, but there's more drops to come in the future. So keep an eye out for those. We'll if anything new comes out, we'll take a look at it. Definitely, we'll do a show on it. But that's all dependent on what the hell we're looking at. Because if it's no better than this, honestly, what's the point? This isn't going anywhere, guys. I mean, what's going on is most likely human tech. It's most likely our tech. And if that is the case, which it seems it most likely would be, they're not going to tell you shit. And they're going to play the UFO drama game because it keeps you distracted from the truth, and not that that's a nefarious, it's not that it's a nefarious reason to distract you, but by distracting you, they're also distracting our adversaries and countries and people we don't want to know what we have and what is actually going on. So, continuing the UFO narrative, that works. That helps do that. I'm not necessarily against that. But it'd be easier and cheaper just to STFU and keep your mouth shut and not even go in on UFO drama, right? They could easily do that. They have no problem staying tight-lipped. People claim the opposite, but I'm sorry, they easily can stay tight-lipped, and they've done it. We've seen it. That's proven. So don't throw all your eggs in this basket, please. Keep it a very low amount of eggs. Don't get played. And I'm not saying we are. I'm just giving you opinions and thoughts and ideas. Keep those things in mind. It matters. With that said, if you have an obscure story of your own, obscuredr1@gmail.com. That's our email. Type story in the subject line. In the body, tell us your story. We'll tell it for you on here. We'll do a show on it, maybe on multiple stories. We've done it in the past. And tell the stories for you anonymously if you'd like. If you want to come on the show, it's super simple. You can do it on your phone, although microphone and is a little bit better, right? But you can come on. It's easy. Or you can just call. It's you just click the link, boom, you're on. We'll keep you anonymous, even if it's video. We won't show you if that's what you want. And you can tell your own story and we can talk about it. It'd be fun. Let us know. With that said, let's await, but not hold our breath for the next dump and see what is going to come out of that. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.